My evil stepmom kicked me out with nothing at 18. 10 years later, I bought the house from the bank for cash and evicted her in front of everyone. 10 years ago, I stood on the front porch of my father's house with a trash bag in my hand. It was raining, not movie rain. A cold, miserable November drizzle that soaked through my thin hoodie in seconds. My father had been dead for 3 weeks. The funeral flowers were still rotting on the grave. Linda, my stepmother, stood in the doorway. She was wearing a silk robe that she bought with my father's life insurance money. She held a cigarette in one hand and a martini in the other. "You're 18, Jack," she said. Her voice was scratchy, like sandpaper on glass. "You're an adult. Get out." "I live here," I said. "This is my dad's house." "It's my house," she corrected. She took a drag. "And I'm selling your room to a boarder. I need the cash flow. Goodbye." She slammed the door. I heard the deadbolt slide home. It was a heavy, final sound. I walked down the driveway. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a plan. I had $40 and a bag of clothes. I walked past the neighbor's house. The window on the second floor opened. "Jack." It was Emma, the neighbor's daughter. We were in the same grade. She was the kind of girl who always smelled like vanilla and flour because her parents owned the town bakery. She climbed out onto the trellis. She looked terrified. "Did she kick you out?" Emma whispered. "Yeah." "Where are you going?" "City," I said. "I'll figure it out." She disappeared for a second. She came back with a thick envelope. She dropped it down to me. "Take it," she said. "It's my tips from the bakery. It's almost $300. Emma, I can't." "Take it, and turn your phone on. Do not turn it off. You text me when you get there. You call me every Sunday. Promise." I looked at her. She was shivering in the rain. "I promise," I said. I took the bus to the city. I slept in a shelter for a week, then a hostel, then a studio apartment the size of a closet. For 10 years, I worked. I didn't date. I didn't go to parties. I worked in logistics, then high-frequency trading. I turned money into more money. And every Sunday, for 520 weeks, I talked to Emma. She was my anchor. While I was eating ramen in a cold apartment, she was on the phone, kneading dough in her parents' bakery. She told me about the town. She told me about the weather. She never asked for money. She never asked for anything. She just kept me tethered to the earth. She was the only reason I didn't turn into a machine completely. Yesterday, I drove back. I didn't take the bus. I drove an Audi RS7, matte gray, the kind of car that sounds like a growling animal when you idle. I had a briefcase in the passenger seat. Inside was a file. Linda hadn't paid the mortgage in 8 months. The bank had finally had enough. They foreclosed on the property 2 weeks ago quietly. It was sitting in their asset portfolio, waiting to be auctioned. I didn't let it go to auction. I called the bank's asset division. I bought the property. Cash. Technically, I was the landlord now. I drove into town. It looked smaller. The main street was cracked asphalt. The trees looked tired. I didn't go to the house. I went to the Daily Crumb, Emma's bakery. The bell chimed when I walked in. The smell hit me instantly. Yeast, cinnamon, burnt sugar. It smelled like safety. Emma was behind the counter. She was 28 now. She had flour on her cheek. Her hair was tied back in a messy bun, held together by a pencil. She was wearing a stained apron over a flannel shirt. She looked up. She dropped a tray of croissants onto the counter. "Jack," she whispered. I stood there in my tailored suit, feeling overdressed and underprepared. "Hey, Em." She ran around the counter. She didn't care about the flour or the suit. She slammed into me. She felt solid, warm. She hugged me like she was trying to fuse my ribs back together. "You're real," she mumbled into my chest. "You're actually here. The phone doesn't do you justice." "You have flour on your face," I said. My voice cracked. She pulled back. She wiped her face, leaving a streak of white. "You have a $5,000 suit on. I probably ruined it." "It's replaceable," I said. "You aren't." She flipped the sign on the door to closed. "Sit," she ordered. "You look tired. Your eyes are gray. You need carbs." She fed me. A cinnamon roll the size of my head. Coffee that actually tasted like coffee beans, not office burnout. We sat at a small, wobbly table in the corner. "So," she said, watching me eat, "you're back. Why now?" "The house," I said. She winced. "Jack, she's worse. She tells everyone you died in prison or something. She throws these parties, pretends she's the queen of the county." I know. She's hosting a gala tonight, Emma said. The summer solstice soiree. It's a joke. She hasn't paid the caterer from the last one. Who is catering this one? Emma pointed to herself. Me. Cash up front. I made her pay cash. I smiled. Smart. I have to go over there in an hour, she said, to set up the hors d'oeuvres. I finished my coffee. I set the cup down. I'm coming with you. Jack, she'll make a scene. She hates you. Let her hate me, I said. I patted the briefcase next to me. I have something to show her. We walked out to the parking lot. Emma looked at my Audi, then at her flour-dusted clothes. She looked nervous. I can't arrive in that, she said. I look like a baker. Linda's friends wear diamonds. Linda's friends wear glass and call it diamond. I corrected. You take your van. I'll take my car. We go in convoy. We pulled up to the house 10 minutes later. My stomach twisted. It was a physical reaction. The last time I stood here, I was a shivering kid. The house looked desperate. From a distance, it was impressive. Big columns, brick facade. But up close, the paint was bubbling. The gutters were hanging loose on the left side. The lawn was mowed, but the flower beds were dead. It was a corpse with makeup on. I looked at Emma. She was unloading trays from her van. You knew, I said. We talked every week. You never told me it was this bad. Emma paused, holding a tray of tartlets. She looked at the rotting siding. If I told you, you would have come back too soon, she said softly. You would have come back angry and broke, and she would have crushed you again. You needed to be ready, Jack. I looked at the house, then at her. She was right. I'm ready now, I said. Good, she said. Now stay out of sight. Let me handle the setup. You make your entrance. I waited in the car until the guests started arriving. Linda's friends, small-town royalty, car dealership owners, local politicians, people who thought a trip to Florida was high culture. They pulled up in leased BMWs. They wore sequin dresses that were too tight. I checked my watch. 7 p.m. Showtime. I stepped out of the Audi. I buttoned my jacket. It was a charcoal wool blend, tailored in London. It fit me like armor. I walked up the driveway. The gravel crunched under my Italian leather shoes. The front door was open. Music was playing. Jazz. It sounded tinny. I walked in. The foyer smelled the same. Old polish and gin. Linda was holding court in the living room. She looked older. Her skin was tight from too many facelifts. Her blonde hair was brittle. She was wearing a red dress that was trying too hard. She was holding a glass of champagne, laughing at a joke that wasn't funny. Oh, it's just a little get-together, she was saying. I'm thinking of redoing the kitchen in marble next month. Imported from Italy. I stood in the archway. Hello, Linda. The room went quiet. The jazz music seemed to get louder. Linda turned. She squinted. It took her a second. 10 years is a long time. I wasn't the skinny kid in the hoodie anymore. I was 6'2", broad-shouldered, and I looked like I owned the bank she owed money to. Jack, she whispered. Then her face hardened. The shock turned into a sneer. What are you doing here? She hissed. I didn't invite you. I was in the neighborhood, I said calmly. Thought I'd stop by. We're hosting a private event, she said, stepping forward, for successful members of the community. Not whatever you are. She looked at my suit. She looked at my watch. She was trying to appraise me, but her calculator was broken. I'm successful, I said. I have a job. Doing what? She laughed. It was a shrill sound. Valet parking? Did you steal that suit? The guests tittered. They loved a show. I work in finance, I said. Oh, a bank teller, she said. How quaint. Look, Jack, I don't have time for your little reunion. Go around the back if you want a plate of leftovers. The help eats in the kitchen. She turned her back on me. I'm not here for the food, Linda. I'm here for the house. She spun around. Excuse me. The house, I repeated. I heard you were having some liquidity issues. I am doing perfectly fine, she shrieked. This is my house. My husband left it to me. He left it to us, I said. You stole it. I evicted a leech, she spat. And look at you, crawling back after 10 years. Probably broke. Probably looking for a handout. Just then, Emma walked in from the kitchen. She was carrying a tray of smoked salmon blinis. She froze when she saw me standing in the center of the room. Linda saw her. Her eyes lit up with malice. She needed a target. Oh, look, Linda said, gesturing to Emma. Your little girlfriend is here. The baker. Did you two plan this? Is she sneaking you food out the back door? Emma stood up straighter. I'm doing my job, Linda. Your job is to serve the guests, not stare at the stray dog. Linda snapped. God, you two are pathetic. The baker and the beggar. It's almost romantic, in a tragic, poverty-stricken way. She laughed. Her friends laughed. It was a cruel, jagged sound. Tell me, Jack, Linda mocked. Did you sleep under a bridge? Did you miss your mommy? My blood went cold, but my pulse didn't jump. I was in trading. I knew when the market was crashing, and her market was at zero. I walked over to Emma. I took the tray from her hands and set it on a side table. Don't serve them, I said to Emma. Jack, she warned. I turned to Linda. You're right about one thing, I said. Emma is the reason I'm here. For 10 years, she was the only person who treated me like a human being. While you were burning through my father's money, she was sending me her tip money so I could eat. How touching. Linda rolled her eyes. Security. Get him out. There is no security, I said. You couldn't afford them. You couldn't afford the caterer either. Emma made you pay cash because your credit is trash. The room went silent. The guests looked at each other. How dare you? Linda sputtered. I am wealthy. I am. You are broke, I said. You haven't paid the mortgage in 8 months. You have 3 liens on the property. You maxed out 6 credit cards last week to pay for the liquor. Lies, she screamed. I opened my briefcase. I pulled out the file. This is the settlement statement, I said, and this is the writ of possession. I held up the paper. The bank foreclosed on you 2 weeks ago, Linda. They didn't tell you? Or did you just not open the mail? I bought the property from their asset division yesterday. Linda stared at the paper. Her face went gray. The makeup suddenly looked like plaster on a cracking wall. You bought the house. Cash, I said. It's done. I looked around the room at the guests. This is my house, I announced. And this party is over. Please leave. The guests didn't wait. They smelled the disaster. They set down their drinks and shuffled out the door. The sound of engines starting filled the driveway. It was just me, Emma, and Linda. Linda was shaking. You can't do this, she whispered. I have rights. Squatter's rights. You're not a squatter, I said. You're a trespasser. The foreclosure is final. I have the eviction order right here. Signed by the judge. He went to school with my dad. He wasn't happy to hear about the unpaid taxes. Jack. She tried to soften her voice. She tried to smile. It was grotesque. Jack, honey. We're family. We can work this out. I can stay in the guest wing. I can help you decorate. I looked at her. I remembered the rain. I remembered the trash bag. You have an hour, I said. An hour. To pack a life. You didn't give me an hour, I said, cold as ice. You gave me 5 minutes. I'm being generous. Where will I go? She wailed. I don't care, I said. Go to a shelter. Go to a hostel. Figure it out. You're an adult. She screamed. She threw her glass at me. It shattered on the wall behind my head. Get out. I roared. My voice echoed off the high ceilings. She flinched. She saw the look in my eyes. It wasn't the look of a scared boy anymore. It was the look of a man who destroys competitors for a living. She ran upstairs. We heard her banging around. Suitcases dragging. 45 minutes later, she came down. She had 2 Louis Vuitton bags. She looked small. She walked to the door. She stopped. You're just like your father. She spat. Cold. No, I said. My father let you stay. I'm making you leave. She walked out. I watched her drag her bags down the gravel driveway to her leased BMW. She drove away. The taillights disappeared into the dark. Part 6. The Aftermath. I closed the door. The silence was heavy. I stood in the foyer. I looked up at the chandelier. It was dusty. One of the bulbs was flickering. I had done it. I had won. I owned the house. I had evicted the monster. I waited for the rush of joy. I waited for the satisfaction. But I just felt cold. The house was huge. It was empty. It smelled of Linda's perfume and neglect. It wasn't a home. It was just a building. A building that held bad memories and drafts. I shivered. Jack. I turned. Emma was standing by the kitchen door. She had taken off her apron. She was holding a tray of untouched blinis. You okay? She asked. I don't know, I said. I thought this would feel better. It's just wood and brick, Jack, she said softly. She walked over to me. Her boots clicked on the marble floor. It's cold in here, she said. Yeah, the furnace is probably shot. She reached out and took my hand. Her hand was warm, rough from work, real. You don't have to stay here tonight, she said. I looked at the grand staircase. I imagined sleeping in my old room. The thought made my skin crawl. I don't want to stay here, I admitted. Come with me, she said. My place is small, but it's warm, and I have leftover dough. We can make pizza. I looked at her. For 10 years, She was a voice on a phone. Now she was here. The only person who knew the truth. The only person who didn't care about the suit or the money. Pizza sounds good, I said. We locked the mansion. I put the key in my pocket. It felt heavy like a stone. We got into my Audi. I drove her van back to her place later. Emma lived in an apartment above the bakery. It was tiny. A studio with a slanted ceiling. It smelled like lavender and books. There were plants everywhere. A fat orange cat was sleeping on the radiator. It was cluttered. It was messy. It was perfect. We made pizza. We sat on her rug, drinking cheap wine out of mugs, because she didn't have wine glasses. So, she said, chewing a crust, what are you going to do with the house? Burn it down. I joked. Don't. The brickwork is historic. I don't know, I said. Sell it. Flip it. Or, she said, looking at me over the rim of her mug, you could fix it. Fix it. It's rotting, Jack. It needs a new roof. New pipes. It needs the ghosts cleared out. She put her mug down. You're a fixer, right? You fix companies. Fix the house. Make it yours. Scrub her smell out of the carpets. Paint the walls. Make it, I don't know, a home. That's a lot of work, I said. I can't do it alone. You're not alone, she said. I know a guy who does roofing, and I'm pretty good with a paintbrush. I looked at her. The candlelight caught her eyes. They were brown and gold and kind. You'd help me? I helped you survive 10 years of exile, she said. I think I can help you pick out paint colors. I reached out and touched her hand. Okay, I said. We fix it. We fix it. But not tonight, I said. No, she smiled. Tonight, you sleep on the couch. And tomorrow, you buy me breakfast. With your fancy bank money. Deal. I lay on her couch that night. The orange cat curled up on my legs. I could hear Emma breathing in the loft bed above me. I checked my phone. No notifications. No crises. I closed my eyes. For the first time in 10 years, I wasn't just surviving. I was home.